Good afternoon, Steel City. Welcome to the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all other sports. On today's episode, the wrath of Omar Kahn with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, free agency, trades, and getting rid of the hostages. Russell Wilson, Justin Fields are in the black and gold as your quarterbacks, and Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph are all backups for other teams. The Pitt Panthers just missed out on the ACC championship game, and then the NCAA Tournament committee omits them to the final four out of the tournament. The Pitt Panthers season is over. I have Coach Capel's response to us Pitt fans and tells the NIT, no thanks for your invitation. Hail Pitt! The NCAA Tournament, however, is having a tournament games in Pittsburgh. On Thursday, I will go over the first round games. Hey, NCAA, Pitt should be in the tournament. The highlight so far of the Penguin season, Jaromir Jagr's retirement day is done. And now as bobblehead night comes, but the truck with the bobbleheads is hijacked on the way to Pittsburgh. What a hockey season in Pittsburgh. Spring training 2024 is coming to an end. The Pirates offense is on fire. Hopefully this is a sign to come for the Buccos in 2024. All this today on the YINZER Report with me, your host, Ralph Calise on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go! Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ralph Calise, and I am your host for the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And this all wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for IE Sports Radio. IE Sports Radio for the last 9 years. IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, other authorized media personnel, to building tailor-made shows dedicated to major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and our shows also. Check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame, which I am the 24th member of the IE Sports Radio Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month, pages dedicated to each podcast, and our IE Sports Radio community forum. And stop by the shop, check out the merch. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports, and always thank you for listening. All right, so it's been a busy week. We left the air last Tuesday, and we were talking about the Russell Wilson signing, and other signings that happened. Patrick Queen and Dante Johnson was traded. Right after the show, Deontay Johnson was traded from the Steelers, but we'll get into that. So let me give you a little overview of the new Pittsburgh Steelers GM, Omar Kahn. He's been the general manager now for 2 years, taking over for Kevin Colbert in 2022. Kahn has come through the higher-ups in the Steelers organization since 2001 as football administration coordinator and director. That was for 15 years. He was then the vice president of football and business administration for 6 years to 2021, and now general manager since 2022. Kahn's recent moves have earned him the nickname the Kahn Artist. So let's get into this Kenny Pickett trade first. The Steelers 2 years ago, this to me, you can look at it as starting as 2 years ago. Omar Kahn wasn't the GM, it was Kevin Colbert. But 2 years ago, the Steelers, they didn't have a plan after Ben Roethlisberger retired. He was the Steelers quarterback who retired in 2022, and that was last year as a Steeler. That was his retirement year. So, again, they didn't have a plan after Ben Roethlisberger retired. The root of the problem, though, doesn't lie with Pickett, but in the organization's refusal to establish a clear succession plan behind Ben Roethlisberger. In chasing ghosts of the past, the Steelers failed to adequately prepare for their future, preferring instead to rewrite the organization's previous mistakes and hang on to the glory days. And now, 2 years after Roethlisberger's long-anticipated retirement, the team is exactly in the place it tried to avoid, square one, almost. So, with that saying, with Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers, they didn't really have a plan to hire an successor to him. So it came along that Kenny Pickett was drafted the year after he was retired, after the Steelers had signed Mitch Trubisky. So the enamor was that Mitch Trubisky was going to start and mentor Kenny Pickett, and we know how that worked out. But the Steelers now, with Omar Kahn as the GM and other organizational people, they have admittedly said that that was a mistake. One mistake was not finding a successor for Big Ben within 2 years before he retired. Another mistake they admitted was having Matt Canada as offensive coordinator longer than expected. And then third, after drafting Kenny Pickett, like we just mentioned, bringing in Trubisky as his mentor, they totally admitted it's a mistake, and that's where we're at now, and that is one of the reasons I see why all this is happening. So Omar Kahn, along with his assistant GM, you know who that is, that's Mike Tomlin, the coach, they go and sign Russell Wilson. So Russell Wilson, he had put something out on X Twitter there that he texted Kenny Pickett right after he agreed to the deal to just tell him, hey, every day we go out there, let's be the best version of ourselves and try to make the team better. I think it will be cool. I guess after hearing his competition was Russell Wilson talking to Kenny Pickett, reports started going out that Kenny Pickett's handling of Russell Wilson's signing was a factor, and he wasn't happy with it. This decision by the Steelers, after he communicated to the team he was fine with competing for the job, then went the other way when Wilson was added, and now he's gone. Of course, we all know the situation. The Steelers were saying that they were going to bring in competition for Kenny Pickett and give him the lead chance for the starter this year. And the main competition they were talking about bringing in was Mason Rudolph. As mentioned in the start, Mason Rudolph is gone, Kenny Pickett is gone, and Mitch Trubisky was the first one to go. So Omar Kahn and Tomlin heard enough of Kenny Pickett, and he was traded to Philly. Another thing came out that the reason why Kenny Pickett was traded was that the Steelers made the move because if Pickett was poorly handling the arrival Russell Wilson, according to sources. That came on the heels of Pickett's behavior last season when he refused to dress as the emergency third quarterback in Seattle in Week 17. Now, I believe we didn't mention it, or we didn't want to mention it, because there's a lot of people out there that like Kenny Pickett, and they wanted Kenny Pickett to succeed to be the starting quarterback. But we didn't see right there that his time in Pittsburgh was already numbered. We just didn't see it or know it, because Rudolph was named the starter the last 3 games, as you remember, and the playoff game versus Buffalo. I guess after all that has happened, since the Steelers in their higher-up positions were being nice in the offseason at their press conference saying Kenny Pickett would have the chance to start with some competition to get the starting job. And now Kenny Pickett opened his mouth and he was traded to Philly. That goes in part, I guess, with Mike Tomlin saying, we only want volunteers not hostages. I guess Kenny Pickett became a hostage. So that's my outlook on that as far as Kenny Pickett. And you have Russell Wilson there now. And the day came where they were announcing and doing the signings for the guys they picked up during the week in free agency. And I just want to read out something that I saw that makes total sense of this. It said, just one day after introducing quarterback Russell Wilson, linebacker Patrick Queen, and safety Deshaun Elliott, as well as trading quarterback Kenny Pickett to the Philadelphia Eagles, Omar Kahn is back at it all again with the roster moves. The Steelers acquired quarterback Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears for a 2025 sixth-round pick that has the potential to become a fourth-round pick. Man, Omar Kahn must have the Chicago Bears on speed dial. Remember last year he traded another one of the guys that will call hostages for the team to the Bears, and that netted us Joey Porter Jr. as a starting quarterback. This move is a win-win for the Steelers. The best case scenario for Pittsburgh is that Russell Wilson plays well all season and leads the team to a playoff berth. Let's hope so. However, if Wilson does struggle, the Steelers can feel confident in handling the keys to Field, who has started for the past 3 years and accumulated 54 touchdowns in that span. Wow. Remember we spoke last week that the Steelers only have like 23 in the past 2 years. If Fields plays well in that situation, or say he has come in for the X amount of games, should Wilson get injured and plays well, then that's a job well done. It sure is. The worst outcome for the Steelers is that both Wilson and Fields fail to rise to the occasion, and both are gone in 2025. Even so, the Steelers gave up practically nothing for each of them and can cut their losses should that be the case. Well, let me tell you something. If that happens, you won't see Mike Tomlin as the head coach after that. Don't forget, he still has to sign. He's under his last year. So this could all blow up in his face, but I honestly don't see that. While Wilson is the starter, I fully expect Arthur Smith to have just a Justin Fields package. Think Taysom Hill in New Orleans, being a receiver on certain plays, lining up in the backfield, taking snaps under center. Pittsburgh is going to make Fields a Cordell Stewart type. Now, you guys remember Cordell Stewart. He had the nickname Slash. He started out as a wide receiver and generally moved up to be the Steelers' starting quarterback. And his nickname was Slash. So Pittsburgh is going to make Fields a Cordell Stewart type, where they have him play receiver, but they can utilize his ability to run as well as powerful arm on a select number of snaps per game. Maybe we can call Justin Fields, if that happens, half a Slash. Now, those who are worried the Steelers won't be able to develop Fields, which I don't think he needs much more developing. Fields needs to learn this name, Tom Arth. Not only did he help Justin Herbert and the Chargers the last 2 seasons as their pass game specialist, but he learned from the best when it comes to preparation and work ethic from Peyton Manning. He also talks about all things he has learned under Manning and seeing what it took to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He will share all that knowledge and challenge Fields to do the same. Now that's impressive. If Tom Arth comes in here and has these guys like Justin Herbert, you can't complain about that. That is going to be an important part of the Steelers' upcoming season. The new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, now with his offensive coordinating people at wide receiver, running back, and whatever else offensive positions they hired this year, because they are also outside the organization, which is a new thing to the Steelers. So Arthur Smith, he must be loving this, because this is right up his alley, and he's got a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a future rising star on his hands now. And Tom Arth will be there to help him along. So we'll see how this plays out with all that. In the end, of course, this is a great trade for the Steelers and a sign that times are changing. No longer will the fans be able just to write off this team and know that the Steelers won't make any substantial moves. That the way of thinking of Kevin Colbert. Omar Kahn, the Wrath of Khan, is showing that anything is on the table, whether it's sending players away, those are the hostages, or bringing in players, bringing players in, nothing is impossible. So, in summary, this is basically low risk, high reward. You had your quarterbacks in the past 2 years, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph. Their contracts added up to about $10 million. You bring in Russell Wilson, you trade for Justin Fields, and between the two of them, they're making anywhere this year from $3 to $4 million. Plus, you're going to probably add in a draft pick, so you're nowhere near the $10 million. It's just a crazy turnaround, very, very crazy. You have to understand and like the Russ signing. It's a good move. He's a Hall of Fame, and the signing was at the Vet Min. It makes total sense. Great job by Omar Kahn and the Steeler organization. Kenny Pickett's reaction to all this is what it is. It is the NFL. It's a business, and hey, you asked the team to trade you, and they obliged. So. I just, the one thing about, like I keep saying, he was one of the hostages. I believe he became one of the hostages once Omar Kahn signed Russell Wilson. And I don't know if they were really going to give him a chance to compete with Russell Wilson. I think it was Russell Wilson's job once they signed him, and that's what they're saying now going forward, even with Justin Fields in there. So, one thing about the signing is the aura that has come over Pittsburgh about Russell Wilson. I mean, in last week's show, we spoke about how he stood in Pittsburgh, and when he made the signing, he put the Renegade song up on his social media, saying that he was signing with Pittsburgh, and it's very, very underestimated. Well, I underestimated the aura and excitement and hope that he all brings for the Steelers. You could just feel it from the current Steeler players and how he was accepted. And if you go on social media about Steeler fans and, hey, we got Russell Wilson, it's just a different time. We're not used to this. We had Ben Roethlisberger for 14 years, and like I mentioned before, he was our savior at quarterback. And a lot of young Steeler fans, they grew up with the Ben Roethlisberger. And then you had the Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph thing. You had a little Duck Hodges in there. I don't know if any Steeler fans remember that guy. He beat out Mason Rudolph. It's just, like I said, it's just a crazy turnaround. What we went from to what we came to now. And we got Russell Wilson. We have Justin Fields. I think they're both going to play a major part in the Steeler organization. Whether who starts at this point, I don't care. I mean, Russell Wilson's going to be the starter. So, okay, Russell, take the starting gig. You got Justin Fields learning from him, and I'm sure you'll be passing the baton to him soon enough. And I just want to make a comment out to our good friend Adam Kernick, who hosts the Chicago Chi-Town Weekly show. I listened to his show yesterday, and he asked that Pittsburgh takes very good care of Justin Fields. My man, I know you wore your jersey during your broadcast last night, showing your true love for Justin Fields. I guarantee you, because as we spoke and as you said in your show, you quoted my one of my shows, Mike Tomlin is a lover of Justin Fields. He thinks the world of him. So as long as Mike Tomlin's around, he's going to get the best treatment ever in Pittsburgh. So Adam Kernick, don't worry about that. So getting back to Omar Kahn, He, in his two years now that he's been general manager, he has drafted three possible franchise players in his first draft. One being already mentioned was Joey Porter Jr. He brought in multiple out-of-office staff hirings for the first time in decades. Like I just mentioned, Tom Arth, the Cazzini person from the Jets for the wide receivers, and some other offensive line notable signings. It seems like, and it is, he's putting his friendship feelings aside and cutting a lot of players we would never cut with the past GM. I totally agree with that. He's definitely done that. You can see what he's doing this offseason. Now he goes on, and of course he made the humongous signing at the quarterback position and the trade, like we just spoke about, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. So let's just go over what happened last week, and that's basically my my outlook on the quarterback. It's going to be very interesting training camp. It's going to be a very exciting training camp. And, the fans in Pittsburgh are all pumped up. This is going to be something different this year. We still need a couple of position players to balance out the offense. We are definitely going to need a center, and we're going to need a wide receiver 2, to be George Pickens' opposite. All right, so once again, let's go over what had happened last week, because it was fast and furious, and I'm sure all Steeler fans were picking up their phones every 5 seconds. Not minutes, seconds. And, okay, so the first move was Russell Wilson. He was signed as a free agent, and it was a 1-year contract with a 1.2 vet minimum. They just signed today for officially punter Cameron Johnson from Houston. He's the punter. They signed him 3 years for $9 million. This was a tremendous signing. Linebacker Patrick Queen from the rival Baltimore Ravens. 3 years for $41 million. Oh my God. This guy he's instantly our captain on defense. I mentioned that in a prior show. Safety Deshaun Elliott from the Miami Dolphins, 2 years for $6 million. I don't know if you Steeler fans saw the press conference with him. The first question I think he was asked was, "How do you feel? Or how do you think you're? Why would you want to sign with Pittsburgh?" My man turned around and pointed to the Steeler logo on the back of the backdrop at the press conference. He points and he goes, "That is the reason why, that logo." Oh my God. They just signed recently wide receiver Van Jefferson. He recently played with the Atlanta Falcons, so he's probably got some ties with Arthur Smith. It was a 1-year deal, but the terms haven't come out of yet. I didn't see any. Now, the trades that were made. This happened right after the show, Tuesday. I didn't even get a chance to sit down and touch my dinner. And the Steelers traded Deontay Johnson and pick number 240 to the Carolina Panthers in exchange for cornerback Dante Jackson and pick number 178. Now, Steeler fans, you remember Deontay Johnson last year. He was having a couple of on-field problems. He had a couple of off-field problems. He almost had a fisticuff with Minka Fitzpatrick on the team. And I don't know, I played I read the Minka Fitzpatrick last year. He was very upset one day after a practice when the reporters were in the room. And I believe he said there's a lot of guys in this locker room that think they could just come in and put on a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform and they're going to go out there and win games. I think Deontay Johnson was one of those guys he was talking about, and Deontay Johnson confronted him on that, and I guess that's who he was talking about, and they almost had a fist fight. So, again, he saw it coming because he was on social media, and I think he posted something like, "Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is." So maybe he saw this coming. So he got traded for a cornerback. And that's this Dante Johnson, who is not too bad, will be playing opposite of Joey Porter Jr. next year. So they revamped the secondary with the signing of Deshaun Elliott from Miami, and now they have a cornerback, Dante Johnson. So there'll be no more Levi Wallace at cornerback, thank God. And they cut Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson been saying there is an opening that they might sign him back, but you have your starting linebacker, like I said, who's going to be your captain, Patrick Queen. This kid, Deontay Johnson, is definitely going to start opposite of Joey Porter Jr., and Deshaun Elliott will be roaming the secondary with Minka, and maybe he can let Minka do what he was doing. Instead of covering the whole field for the secondary, he can roam around now like he was doing the first couple of years he was there. So signings are good all around. You have the next trade, of course, was the Kenny Pickett and pick number 120 for pick number 98 and two 2025 7th-round picks to Philadelphia. So we say goodbye to Kenny Pickett. Hey, I wish Kenny Pickett all the luck in the world. He's going to be a backup over to Jalen Hurts, of course. How long, who knows. But I was a fan of Kenny Pickett. I didn't see him being a great quarterback, but in the way the Steelers' offense was, I think he would have did fine. He just, of course, as everybody says, was never really given the chance. I think the cards were stacked against him once he got drafted. Another trade that was made was the Justin Fields trade. A conditional 2025 conditional 6th-round pick to the Chicago Bears for quarterback Justin Fields. It escalates to a 2025 4th-round pick if Fields plays 51% of the snaps in 2024. Hey, that could happen if Russell Wilson gets hurt. So, if you look at it, the Steelers basically sent two 2025 7th-round picks to Philly for Kenny Pickett, and this trade with the Bears is 2025. So they really didn't give up any draft picks for any one of these guys. They swapped picks with Carolina. It's actually a lower pick than what they gave up. And yeah, so they have a 98 pick and the 120th pick. Those aren't too far off. So they'll be looking to fill in some slots with those positions. So that's the take on the Steelers. Let me read another sponsor here. We have Planet Jerky. Sponsor of Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champions. Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, low in sugar, and high in protein. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on another planet. Find it on Instagram at Planet Jerky. All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Pitt Panthers NCAA basketball team. They are not in the NCAA tournament, and they should be, and I'll go into that when I get back. This is the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Damn! BDG! Say hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head prime-time face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
is Ricky K coming out to you at the NY State of Sports, a new show here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Listen to me every Thursday afternoon as we bring you the latest takes on the Yankees, Mets, Jets, Giants, Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, and Islanders. Plus you get some college hoops and what's the local sports events going on in the area. It's a state that never sleeps, so why not get the opinions and sports sakes that never sleep. Again, every Thursday, 2 p.m. to the NY State of Sports. We'll see you then.
Welcome back to the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So, this past week was the ACC Tournament with our Pitt Panthers, who were on a major run towards the end of the year, and they played they had the double bye in the ACC Tournament, and they played in that game, and they wound up winning that first game they played in the tournament. I'm sorry, Wake Forest was slipping my mind who they played. They beat Wake Forest 81-69, and Ishmael Leggett, the ACC Sixth Man of the Year, had 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 steals, and he was the player who was able to slap the Pitt sticker into the semifinal rounds on the bracket that they had. It was great to see. I love stuff like that. They had a gritty performance worthy of the city of Pittsburgh. They only trip to the semis in 2000. Their only other trip to the semis was in 2014, and they won their first ACC season game with freshman guards playing well beyond their college status and years. So they went on to play North Carolina in the next round, and they had a really great first half. It was they had a lead in the first half, and it was back and forth, and I think they had like a 2-point lead at halftime, if I remember correct. And then the second half came, and it was a back and forth game. I think it was 62-62 with like 4 minutes left, and then North Carolina was able to pull away. So they sat back and they waited Sunday to get into the tournament, which didn't happen, and they were predicted, as it came out, as the first 4 out of the NCAA tournament. So the NCAA didn't like them. There was a lot of teams, as everybody knows, that won their conference tournaments, and they were lower seeds in their tournaments. They weren't the 1 seeds that probably were going to get the automatic bid. So all these teams that won these other conferences basically put the badger on them not making it. So it was very disappointing they didn't make the tournament. I knew once I saw the tournament settings and they showed Virginia was in a playing game, I was like, that's crazy, because if anybody should be in a playing game, it should have been Pitt, because Pitt beat Virginia at Virginia. So I have out here what Jeff Capel said to us Pitt fans, and he put this out on social media. He put, I am incredibly proud of the performance, development, and fight of our team. We ultimately fell short of our goal of reaching the NCAA tournament despite ranking favorably in the computers, performing well in conference play with 4th place finish and ACC tournament semifinal appearance, and playing our best basketball over the last 8 weeks of the season. We made the decision to decline an NIT invitation as a team, and with the support of our athletic department leadership, it was a difficult choice, but ultimately it was the best for our student athletes. The 2023-24 season was a memorable one that began in August with our trip to Spain and the hometown of Guillermo and Jorge Diaz-Graham. Blake Hinson proved to be one of the elite shooters in the NCAA, and our young backcourt of Bub Carrington and Jalen Lowe grew into one of the best young guard tandems in the country. Ish is performing against Wake Forest with his father at the Capital One Arena, and their moment together after the game was special throughout the roster. We had a great performance that led to a second consecutive season with at least 20 wins and over 10 plus victories in ACC play. We are grateful for the tremendous fan support this season. The Oakland Zoo is amazing all season long and is a big part of our program. We look forward to continuing to build this program and preparing for the NCAA Tournament in 2025. Hail to Pitt, head coach Jeff Capel. Hail to you, Coach Capel. That was perfectly written, and I can't agree 100% more. Go Pitt Panthers. So, the weird thing about all this that there is a NCAA tournament games in Pittsburgh. So they have the tournament. They have the first round in the tournament coming up, and they have games in Pittsburgh that will be played Thursday. They have 4 games that are going to be played in Pittsburgh, and they have first round games Thursday, and I guess they're going to be playing Saturday. I think Kentucky, I'm trying to remember the teams offhand, Kentucky, NC State, I think Texas Tech. There's other teams that are vying for the tournament in that first round. Yeah, here it is. So the NCAA tournament is coming to Pittsburgh, the PPG Paints Arena, Thursday, March 21st, 23rd, or 24th. It's the South Region, number 6 Texas Tech versus number 11 NC State, and number 3 Kentucky versus number 14 Oakland. That's not the Oakland in Pittsburgh, that's the Oakland in Michigan. The Midwest region will carry the 6th seed South Carolina versus 11 seed Oregon, and a number 3 Creighton versus number 14 Akron. I'm a big Creighton supporter in this tournament. I did my brackets. I have them going pretty far. So that'll be good. Some basketball in Pittsburgh, not our Pitt Panthers, but we must congratulate our other school that is in the Pittsburgh area, the Duquesne Dukes. They won the A-10 Atlantic title for the first time. Coach Keith Dombart coached the Duquesne to the Atlantic 10 title and the first NCAA bid in 47 years. An amazing accomplishment for the program with limited resources. His most famous work remains winning 2 state titles at Akron, parentheses, State, Ohio State. Vincent St. Mary with a young freshman sophomore. Anybody know? LeBron James. The Dukes get to the dance. The men's basketball team has earned an NCAA tournament bid for the first time since 1977 after defeating VCU. And in Sunday's finals, they won the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament. Congrats to the Duquesne Dukes and good luck in the NCAA tournament. I believe this is going to be Keith Dombert's last season coaching too, so that's a little special for them. And I believe he coached the tournament with his wife having cancer treatments, which is pretty wild. All right, let me have another sponsor here. This is Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations, and you're looking for that extra special touch. Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add their smile when you receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade Sicilian wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal. We'll bring the seal. You can find this at Instagram at _wax stamps and Facebook Seal the Deal Wax Seals. Okay, take a quick break. Come back. We'll go over the hijack in Pittsburgh for the Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. This is crazy. I'll be right back. This is the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS, the SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, welcome back. This is the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all other sports. I'd like to just say congratulations to Larry B and his wife Cecilia B. Their show this past Friday had many views, from what I'm understanding. They were live, and turned out to be a great show. And I just want to say congratulations to them on that. Let's check the chat. I'm over here yapping away, and I completely forgot to admire who was in our chat today. Taryn, Patricia Bax, and Jen B. I appreciate you guys. You guys are always here for me when I'm on the air. Appreciate that very much. Thanks for joining in. Your shows are also great too. Thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's get into what happened with the Penguins. Team-wise, they're 6 points still out of a playoff spot with about 12 games to go, so they got a daunting task to try to get into the playoffs, which I already counted them out. So they had last Thursday was supposed to be Jaromir Jagr bobblehead night. I don't know if you heard what happened, but I got to tell you, there was a article that came out that the Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads was stolen, delaying the Penguins giveaway. So the article came out, the Jaromir Jagr bobblehead night will not have Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads, as the Pittsburgh Penguins announced that Thursday their shipment of the fan giveaways had been stolen. The Penguins said all fans attending the home games against the San Jose Sharks will receive a voucher that includes a one-time scannable barcode to get the bobblehead at a later date when the items are safely located or the new bobbleheads are produced and available for distribution. The team learned that it was the victim of a cargo theft after it failed to receive the shipment of the bobbleheads of Jaromir Jagr. It was determined that the theft likely occurred when the shipment arrived in California, according to the team. It was said, "We are shocked to be the victim of a cargo theft, and we are working closely with local and federal authorities on the investigation." Penguins President of Business Operations Kevin Acklin said, "While this unfortunate incident adds to the legend of Jaromir Jagr, who will be in attendance as our guest at tonight's game, we look forward to resolving the theft and delivering the prized Jagr bobbleheads to their rightful homes, our fans." The team said there would be no further comment so as to not to hamper the recovery of the goods. Jagr, and the way Jaromir Jagr is, if you know who he is, had some fun with the news later Thursday, writing in social media, "Did anybody see my bobbleheads? 18,000 of them. Actually, I got one, so we're missing 17,999. Let me know if you see them or find them. Thank you." They also made a little video of him. It was in I think it was a bright yellow Penguin truck, like a pickup truck, and he had the bobblehead in the seat next to him, and he says something like, "Come on, buddy, let's go find them." Yeah, it was really something. So just another part of this Penguin season that where things are going wrong. Their bobbleheads got hijacked. Oh my God, you can't make this stuff up these days. So I did see, or I was told that people have been seeing them popping up on eBay. I guess those are the fraudulent ones, because I don't think the new ones have been given out yet. And like it said there in that article, you need a scan to actually get your bobblehead if they even got the new ones. So that's something to look forward to. But Jaromir Jagr, man, he's some character. He's a personality. He was a great hockey player. And I had a recent show where I dedicated the show to him, and I did a thing on his retirement night, and it was a great thing. So, all right. So the Pirates are getting closer to opening day. Bucko fans, you ready for some Pirate baseball? They're going to be, opening day will be in Miami. They'll be on the road. And then I believe they come home on the 5th, April 5th. They play Baltimore. But the Bats have been amazing this spring. They also signed Michael A. Taylor to a 1-year, $4 million contract. He's a veteran, and he'll help along with all the young players that are on the roster. And he's a great defensive player. He'll give you some offense here and there. So that was a pretty good pickup for the Pirates. Right now, as it stands, I have the updated lineup as O'Neal Cruz leading off at shortstop. Batting second will be left fielder Brian Reynolds. Third baseman Key Brian Hayes, who will be going for a platinum Gold Glove this year. That's crazy. Right fielder Jack Sawinski. DH fifth will be McCutcheon. Very interesting play. I'm looking forward to watch play in Pittsburgh this year. First baseman Rowdy Tellez. I'm going to put Michael A. Taylor right in there at the center field, because the younger players really haven't been hitting in spring training. And then catching will be Henry Davis, who's having an awesome spring. I'll get into some of his stats that he's on the leaderboards there. The Pirates, of course, are leading spring training in home runs. And O'Neal Cruz has been lighting up. I think he's got 7. And I just looked up his stats before I came on the air. Of course, this is all spring training. But he's at .355 batting average, 7 home runs, and 14 RBIs. That's amazing. And don't forget, he didn't play at the beginning of the spring. There was another stat that came out that I jotted down. It's the spring training leaders in total bases. Now get this. The top guy is from Baltimore. His name is Kyle Stowers. He has 32. Number 2 is O'Neal Cruz of our Buccos, 28. Number 3, Jack Sawinski of our Buccos. Number 27, he has 27. Tied for 4th and 5th, 2 of our Buccos. Key Brian Hayes with 26, and he tied with Henry Davis with 26 also. So these are your starters, and they're all over the leaderboards in spring training. Hopefully this is something to come in 2024. The pitching staff is rounding out. Mitch Keller, of course, is going to be the starter. Martin Perez has been pitching well. And the 3 other guys are still trying to work things out. But a name to look forward to, or look out for Jared Jones. He's having a great spring, and who knows, he may crack the starting lineup. Gen B, that was crazy. The whole truck rolled stolen. Yeah, Gen B, according to Jaromir Jagr, he's got the only one that they sent to Pittsburgh. They saw 17,999 missing. I still can't believe it. Every time I say it or tell somebody, it's just like a funny story. So, yeah, Bucko Baseball is coming up. I'm going to do next week, I'm going to give you like a roster update. Possibly the team that'll be going into opening day, and I'm going to give you a projection on Bucko Baseball. It seems like it's going to turn out to be an exciting year. So we'll go over that next week. I'll compile some stuff and get that ready for next week. And thanks for listening today. Man, the shows go fast. Thanks again to everybody in the chat. Appreciate you guys, as I mentioned. Your shows are coming up next. I believe that we're in the chat, except Terran. Terran had his yesterday. Yeah, thank you for joining in. It's been quiet on Steeler front. I haven't seen anything on my phone during the show. But I'm sure we'll get into more Steelers stuff next week. Really excited for that season to come up too. So once again, this was the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio. Thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't tuned in, you can listen on the podcasts out there somewhere. I got myself out there to a couple of more people who are listening on other podcast networks. So hopefully they enjoyed the show. I look forward to their response to how it did. And coming up, you have Tuesday. Today is Tuesday at IE Sports Radio. You have 5 shows following mine in hour succession from 6 to 10. So I'll give you to that in the track if I start the track. And once again, thanks for joining in. I'll talk to you guys next week. Love you guys as always. Have a good evening. Good night. All right. You've listened to the YINZER Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all other sports. I am the first show here on a Tuesday, as we just mentioned. Coming up, we'll have the show of the land with Jen B. The Cleveland Sports Pleasures. Next one will be the Buffalo Huddle with Patty Max. That's your Buffalo Sports Pleasures. Great show. Listen in. And you have the Philly Sports Talk with Bobby and Chris. That is all your Philly sports talk. Interesting to hear their take with Kenny Pickett for Philly. Then you have the Neutral Zone with Adam and Zach. And you know my saying with those guys, being it's hockey, they are never offside. Have a great show, guys. And then you have Sin City Sports. The name alone should tell you what sports city that's from. Las Vegas. Went Kyle. So tune into those shows. Enjoy them. Enjoy your evening. NCAA Tournament starts this week. I did not give my picks. I forgot to give my final 4 picks. But I picked the Houston Cougars to win it all. Let's go Cougars. Good night, guys.